Hello, class. Today I will be introducing you to diffusion of innovations. So, what is diffusion? Diffusion is the process by which an innovation is communicated through certain channels over time among the members of a social system. Note the highlighted words innovation, channels, time, social system. Remember this because we'll come back to this in just a bit. A little background of diffusion research. Everett Rogers is a universally recognized authority on diffusion research. In fact, he coined the term early adopter. Again, a concept we'll come back to later. Rogers published his seminal work, Diffusion of Innovations, in 1962. It is the second most cited book in the Social Science Citation Index, and it also has very broad multidisciplinary appeal. So, I hope you remembered those words from earlier because these comprise the four elements of diffusion. Innovation, communication channels, time, and the social system. According to Rogers, the innovation must be perceived as new by an individual or group. Communication channels are the means by which a message concerning an innovation spreads from one individual to another. Time is a crucial factor, and it's often overlooked in communication research, but it's actually arguably the most important element of diffusion research. Lastly, we have the social system. The social system is defined as a set of interrelated units that are engaged in joint problem solving to accomplish a common goal. An example of this could be a company, a school, a city. You get the idea. Now let's talk a little bit about innovations themselves. Innovations can be described by the 5 traits you see here, also known as attributes: relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, trialability, and observability. Relative advantage is when an innovation is perceived as greater than its predecessor technologically. An example of this would be the smartphone compared to the brick-like cell phones of the 80s and 90s. Compatibility is when it's perceived as being consistent with the existing values, past experiences, and needs of potential adopters. Complexity is its perceived difficulty of use. And trialability is the degree to which innovations can be tested out before committing fully. Most services you sign up for these days have a trial period for just this reason. Observability is the degree to which the results of using the innovation are visible to others. Now let's talk about the adoption process. Like I said, Everett Rogers coined the term early adopters, and this is arguably very important. As you see, there's sort of a bell curve distribution as to the different categories of people who adopt an innovation at a different stage of the process. These stages are innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. You'll also see this yellow line here, and that is an S-shaped curve, which also tells you a lot about the timeline of adoption. You usually tend to see an uptick around the early majority, and that's when the innovation really starts to take hold. So, innovators, they are risk takers by nature, and they're likely to be attracted to a new innovation simply because it's new. And this group tends to be the most venturesome. Similarly to innovators, early adopters are also risk takers, and they tend to value being leaders. They tend to create opinions and propel trends. And Unlike innovators, however, they're more concerned about their reputation as being ahead of the curve. The early majority. If an idea or innovation or other innovation enters this group, it tends to be widely adopted before long. They make decisions based on utility and practical benefits over coolness, but they do still value being a part of that early adoption process. The late majority, this is where you start to get people who are more conservative and traditional. They share some traits with the early majority, but they're a lot more cautious before committing. They care about their reputation, they care about their bottom line, and they're going to need more handholding as they adopt. Lastly, we have laggards. Laggards are basically only going to adopt this innovation after they've been forced to, or because everybody else has already. So why does it matter? Diffusion tells us something very important. Innovations don't spread based on their technological merits alone, and if they did, this entire theory would be irrelevant. This is relevant to us as communications professionals because the ideas we spread mean nothing without the right strategy and messaging. Referencing this slide here, each one of these categories is an identity that a company takes. And this is very important to messaging and how they fit into the whole ecosystem. Not only that, but this theory isn't just limited to communications. This theory is very widespread. Like I said, Rogers' book is the second most cited, and this has a very broad multidisciplinary appeal. Thank you for your time.